morning. This is Saturday, August 13, and we're back again for the second day of Budoshin Jujitsu Summer Camp. And today we are having, first of all, Sensei Zeidman is doing basic concepts of Midori Jiu-Jitsu, and he left the ice glasses at home today. After him, we will have Dave Bozel teaching Koru Aikido knife defenses. And then after lunch, Harold will be back dealing with multiple assailants, which will include all the upset customers from Subway who did not get tables yesterday or today because we were there. And then I will be doing techniques in tight spaces to close things up for the day.
All right, Midori Jiu-Jitsu. Midori was named after the founder of our school, who passed away in 1996. His name was Green. Midori in Japanese is green. So what I want to talk to you about is some of the basic principles of it. These are things that I think you'll be able to find and see in every move and everything that you do. It's not so much a unique set of moves and this and that, but just a way of looking at your martial arts, a way of looking at your body, your opponent's body, how they move in relationship to each other. And what I find is, like, every move that I do or every move that I see, like when I watch somebody see it, I look at it through this lens. Does it meet the requirements of the basics? And if it does, then okay, it kind of passes my test as being a good jiu-jitsu move, right? And that's sort of like, that's what I look for. Like when Sensei Clark did his work yesterday, I know he was just showing just a few of the things, many things that he does. And what I was actually fascinated by was, and I apologize, don't mean to insult you, but not so much what you were doing, but watching Logan's falls. And when I saw that Logan knew the basics, how to fall, and knew how to fall well, it's like, okay, the instruction is pretty good, all right? And that gave me a lot of confidence in the instruction, right? And like with Sensei Bozel, when he was doing a move, and we're going to redo, I think, one of those moves today, not to change it because I don't have any changes in it, but just to walk through how I would look at it, or how I did look at it from a Midori perspective. I could see, okay, his moves have all of these requirements in them that I look at from a Midori perspective, so, okay, we can use them. They're not an anathema to us, okay? So that's what I want you to get your senses of, different kind of lens that you can put on, and a different way of looking at all the moves, maybe looking at your moves, looking at moves when you go to a clinic, and that sort of thing, looking at my moves and saying, is Hal being true to his principles, all of that sort of thing, all right? Now, the first thing, though, that we have to do is, in order to do a move with someone else, we have to be able to control ourselves, all right? And we have to have control of our bodies. And that's actually a lot harder than it looks. Given the ranks of everybody here, we're just going to go through this very quickly, and I know there's a video, so if for some reason you want to refresh yourself on any of it, you'll be able to see it. But the keys are your center of gravity, right? That's a mathematical construct, needs to be inside your body. If your center of gravity is outside your body, even this much, okay, you don't have your balance. And in order to do something, you have to bring it back inside your body before you can do something. That takes time, all right? And time is death. Time is death, okay? So what we do is, our center of gravity should be inside, they call it the hara, right? Inside, in here, in your center. So you settle down and relax into the center. Your butt is kind of tucked in, okay? So that everything is connected. If my butt's out, even though my center of gravity is inside my center right now, I've got my limbs, my legs, and my arms kind of separate. When I tuck in, it helps connect my legs and to my center. So everything is done from here. I move from here. Right? Everything I do, I move from here. Right? Okay. So let's just do that for one moment. Just get tucked and in. Tuck and in. And just settle in and be nice and relaxed. Feel good. Feel good about it. Feel good about it. Knees out. Knees always have to be out. Want my knees out over my toes. Your basic jiggle hantai. Right? Don't let them sag in because then I can't move also. I got to get them out. Right? Okay. Now, when I move, there are a couple things I want you to get here, and we're going to practice this movement so that you can kind of see it. Number one, always move tsugiyashi. Are we familiar with tsugiyashi? It's right, sliding feet, right? Sliding feet, tsugiyashi, right? And number two, we move from here. My legs don't move in tsugiyashi. They don't lead it. My hara leads. The center of my balance leads and my legs follow. See that? Everything is from here. This moves it. Right? If I move from my center, then everything moves as one, and my center of gravity is always inside my body, so during the entire move, I never lose anything. Okay? Because the minute I lose something, I have to put it back in. All right? So even if, can I use you for a second just as an example of what I'm talking about? Just lay down. I've thrown you. Okay. Get over here. I've thrown you. Okay. I've thrown you. Lay down. Now I'm going to do, say, put this on. If I lean like this, my center of gravity is out of my body. Okay. He can easily pull me over if he's not totally out of it. Exactly. I'm going to damage those cabinets there. And if there's number two over here, I have to get my center of gravity back in my body before I can do anything. All right? So even when I do this, I do it from here. Sorry, I didn't mean to really put it on. But I do it from here. I don't do it by leaning over him like here, even if I have a good brace or whatever, because I need to be balanced and I need to be ready. Thank you. Okay? So everything's here. Now, we're going to practice some movement, but there's one more thing I want to show you. All right. I'm 61. I've been walking upright for going on 7 years now. Pretty remarkable achievement. I'm very pleased with myself. But seriously, if you ever watch like a baby learn to walk, you realize that walking is controlled falling. Controlled falling. So a baby will fall, stick their foot out, come back up. Fall, stick their foot out, and come back up. Okay? And sometimes they forget to stick their foot out when they fall, and that's when they fall down, go boom, and we go, oh, you're okay, right? But that's what a baby does. Now, after 7 years, I can pretty well do it. See? Isn't this exciting? Right? But what's happening to my head? The head's bobbing, isn't it? Right? Now, people are used to that. They measure your motion, they measure your distance, they measure what's happening by the head bob. Okay? So we don't want the head to bob. When we move from our hara, we keep straight or level, right? We don't want that head to bob. People don't get a measure. Can I have a volunteer? Promise this won't hurt. All I want you to do is watch something and then tell the class what you think. Volunteer. This one won't hurt, guaranteed. Excellent. Come over here. Now I'm going to tell you I lied. I'm going to put your head... No, just kidding. Come over here. Now just stand there. And remember, you got to be recording because you're going to have to tell people because it's really most from here. Tell me what you think. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's like
see it pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, tell me this. Can you see me moving in?
Yeah, but it's more. It's almost like a snake as opposed to like a.
Okay, so it feels a little smoother to you, but you can still see it.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's weird. It's like you kind of almost like warped in, kind of.
I'm there, then I'm here. My head didn't bob. He didn't recognize. That gives me that extra moment. Time is key, right? Good, thank you. Just needed a volunteer to see that, right? Time is key. Keep your head level. Don't let it bob. So when we move, we keep that head level. Everything we do, we keep that head level, right? Okay, so what I want you to do is let's just practice. I'm going to do it sideways for the camera, and then we're going to just do it ourselves, right? Up and back, and then you'll be experts so we can move on, right? Is we're just going to slide, keeping the head level. Slide back, keeping the head level. Right? That's all I want you to do. Just that. Focus on letting your hara lead, not your leg, and focus on keeping your head level. Okay? Right? Okay. Hi. And I'm used to walking like this. And even Sugiyashi, I'm used to doing this. But you can see the bob? Well, so can my opponent. And he measures my distance, and he knows I'm coming in. Right? So this is a real technique that takes time to master. Right? So we're doing it real fast, and since I have, I guess, about an hour left, I'm now pronouncing you experts in moving forward and back without bobbing your heads. Okay? However, I would recommend that just to increase your expertise just a little bit, that you practice this. It's actually a good warm-up exercise or cool-down exercise at the beginning and end of your workouts. I do it, you know, all the time when I do this. Okay. Next is we don't just have forward and back. We've got to be able to go side to side. Okay, side to side. And again, from the hara, it leads me, and there's no head bob. Right? Okay, so come on out so you don't run into somebody. Yeah, actually go sideways like that and go down and back. What I work for is just like in going forward, one drives the next. Okay? You want to work that drives. It drives. So it's not stop, 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 stop. But even slowly, it drives. It drives. No stopping. Right? All right? One of the, well, we'll get to it. But that's consistent with that. So now we've got 4 directions. There are actually 8. We've got the angles. Right? So in addition to being able to going forward and back and side to side, okay, we've got to go diagonally forward. Right? And diagonally back. Okay, so find a little spot and just work the diagonals. Each time returning to the center. Each time returning to the center and work another angle. Right? Okay, excellent. You're now experts at moving from your hara, not bobbing your head, and knowing all 8 points. Okay, now that we can control ourselves, oh wait, one more point. An obvious point to people of this rank, but I want to get it out just for the sense of completeness. Hi, breathing. Hi, we don't breathe from up here. We breathe from down here in our hara. And every time we move, we should be breathing. Right? And every time the ki, right, is just an expression of that breath, okay, and of that commitment. But when I move, there's every bit as much commitment to it as if I moved. It's the same thing, the same level of commitment. Everything we move. When we stop moving, stop breathing, we get tight. Okay? Did you guys ever see the movie Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando? Hi? And what, his daughter got kidnapped or something like that, right? And he's some martial arts expert. And I actually started in karate do. Sugiyama-san taught me. He was sent, one of the first people sent here in the 1950s to the U.S. to help bring karate to the U.S. And He was in Chicago, and then he was brought back to Japan to be the chief instructor for the JKA, the Japanese Karate Association. Very, very traditional guy, right? And so we had to learn the katas and all that kind of good stuff, which we're not going to learn here, but the funniest part of this movie, it's just stuck in my mind as an image that makes me want to throw up every time I think about it, right, is Schwarzenegger doing hand number 2. If you're familiar with the hand katas, H-E-I-A-N, the hand katas, hand number 2, and he goes, what's that? Yes, and he goes, right? And he's doing this on this mountaintop right before, to show his commitment, right before this helicopter picks him up, or a helicopter comes down and starts shooting at him or something like that, and he goes after his daughter or whatever. But the absolute muscle, and you can sense the stopping, it's an excellent film for showing what not to do in martial arts, because you can see the stopping of the breathing each time. You can see the arms or the legs leading the movement. It's like, it's an awesome section of film to know what not to do. Everything he does, do the opposite, okay? It's great. And by the way, I love Schwarzenegger movies. They're great shoot-'em-up cowboy kind of movies, and I love them all. But at any rate, we want to exhale and breathe, okay? So now we are in perfect control of ourselves, and we now need to start thinking about controlling someone else, okay? So, Logan, can I use you again?
Sure.
Biggest guy here. Nobody will think I'm going to be able to outmuscle you. All right? And actually, if we kind of look and, kind of compare, right? He's bigger, he's stronger, he's younger, so he's got to be quicker. A lot of those fast twitch muscle more than I've got, right? What is my one advantage over him at this point?
Cunning, Buster.
Close. You're all close. I'm prettier. Okay? That's the one advantage I have over this guy at this point. See? Okay, I'm prettier. Unfortunately, that's not enough to prevail. I need more advantages, and that's where we're going to start talking about kazushi. Okay? Kazushi, we all know it means off balance. But what I see in different styles is that it means different things to those different styles. All right? And like in sports judo, because it's become so divorced, unfortunately, from tradition, kazushi means something that I muscle the guy into. All right? If you've ever watched sport judo, you can see that's kind of what it means. That's not what it meant, and it's not what it really is. Now, don't move your feet, okay? Don't move your feet. I promise you won't get hurt, you won't fall, I promise. Just don't move your feet. Who's getting stronger?
You are.
Right? Now, even if it were Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course I probably wouldn't be able to hold him up, but I would be stronger, right? So the key is that strength is a relative thing, all caused by the kazushi. It happens quite naturally without me using muscle, right? Rather than something that I need to muscle. So if we're doing judo, and he's holding on, and I gotta go, Hoof! And I got to start pulling him into this thing and using the muscle and whatever, and hoping to overcome it, right? That's not what we're all about, right? So kazushi is using that. Now, the key is I've got to keep the kazushi going. If I stop it, even for a fraction of an instant, I have to start it all over again, okay? And so many times I see people be able to do moves for two reasons. One, they've been able to do it they've done it so many times that it's like second nature to them. And two, they're in a dojo with a cooperative uke who's not going to take those, what I call dead moments, right, and to counter the move, right? So that's why when you do see sport judo, they're not going to let you do your move. They're going to take those dead moments and try to use it against you. So the key is continuous flow of kazushi from the instant of his attack, not to, but through his demise. After it's over, only then does the kazushi stop. Okay? Right? And what does that mean, though? What that means is Mushin, no mind, is essential. I don't choose what move to do. He chooses, which is actually a very nice thing on my part. But of course, I'm a nice person, we all know that. I let him choose how he wants to die. Okay? Which, it's a nice thing to do. Don't you think that's a nice thing? I think it's a nice thing to do. His attack and what he does in relation to my body decides how he wants to die. So if he were to come and attack me from here, he's coming this way. If I stop and then start, I'm starting all over. Now you feel this time and you can react to that, couldn't you? Now come again. What happened?
I'm off balance.
You had to take that step, didn't you?
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything, right? So that brings another concept to mind, time. Time is relative. Don't move your feet again. If I've got him off balance, I have all day to eat lunch, order a Starbucks triple latte, macchiato, frappuccino, right? Drink it, and then throw him. Because he can't do anything. He's too busy trying to recover his balance. All right? Time only passes when he has his balance. That is the only time time passes. Therefore, what does that mean to us? Not only do we need to keep the kazushi going, don't panic. Don't feel like you've got to rush the move. If you have the kazushi, you have all day. Keep the kazushi going, okay? From beginning through the end. All right? So, let's just warm up with that for a little bit. Let's pair off, and we'll just do a goshi. We all know a goshi, I'm sure, right? And all I want, nice and slowly, is he's going to come in and attack. Come in and
Come in and grab?
Yeah, just come in and grab. Okay, now, but grab through me. You're going to come in and grab through me, right?
Okay.
Comes in and grabs through me. Yeah, right, because he's giving me this motion. So I take that motion, allow him to go, and just let him go. Right? Right? So just, he comes in, I take the motion, and throw him. No stopping. Right? At no point did he have an opportunity, right? You can get up, thank you, to make the motion, so there was no time stopping. Let me show you what I often see, all right, from good practitioners. I took his kazushi, got myself, you can get up, nice and set. Did you see the stop there in the moment? There was that little stop. How many times do you see that? Do you see that a lot in people? Yeah? Yeah? If this weren't a dojo, and if he weren't a nice uki, he'd have 8 years to counter me. Maybe 9. All right? Because that's how much time passes in his mind. But that first time, no time passed, right?
Yeah, it was almost as if I were just going into a front flip.
No time passes. Time is really relative. We have to trust that, so we can't panic. So what I want you to do, just pair off, just do a couple of goshi throws back and forth, no faster than that, just working on making sure that I keep the motion going through the end of the fall, through the end of the throw. I don't care about the form. Y'all know how to do a goshi. Y'all know where your hip's supposed to be and how you're supposed to turn. Right now, I want you so focused on the kazushi that if your form goes, I don't care. Okay? I just want you to focus on that. Go ahead. We're now all experts at keeping the flow going. So let's talk next about why a throw works. Can I use you again?
Sure.
I haven't hurt you yet, right?
No.
Okay. Is his insurance paid up just in case?
Certainly.
Okay, good. All right, so where's my mark? Okay, so why does a throw work? Come in and attack me again like that. Keep your kazushi going?
Yes.
Well, how come you didn't fall down?
You didn't throw me.
Huh. Okay. So what didn't I do? What needs to happen for the throw? Remember we talked about the baby walking and then the baby falling.
You need to stop part of his body so that the rest of it...
Exactly. For lack of a better term, because I've not heard it described before, I created all these names. Okay. I'm also famous at work for creating names and acronyms, most of which nobody else understands, but they mean everything to me. Okay. I call it blockage. I've got to block him. Okay, I've got to block him. Now there are two kinds of blocks, physical and physiological. Generally, at least in most of the jiu-jitsu styles that I have seen, we start with the physical blocks. That's why many times you start with a goshi or ippon seinagi or some kind of hip throw with a beginner, because it's a physical block. It's easier for them to see and get. You have a little more leeway if you screw it up in, quote, forcing something. You're never going to get good that way, but you have a little more leeway in at least having that instant of success, so you get the student to keep coming back and refine things down. But when he comes in, there's my physical block. My hip is my physical block. Right? Y'all see that? What happens is the kazushi keeps going. He wants to take that extra step, but he can't because my hip is in the way. It's the physical block, and it's like that baby who doesn't take that extra step. That's when they fall down, go boom. Right? So we're now experts, because we already just did our goshi, at physical blocks. Now let's look at a physiological block. Let me put you on this side, because you have a little more room. So we'll go to Sensei Bozel's, one of his moves from yesterday, where the guy comes in, just kind of give me a little bit of a roundhouse. If you remember here, and then you put your arm on the shoulder, and he falls. Why does he fall? I'm not putting my hip there. I'm not blocking anything out. Why does he fall? Well, the kazushi, but fine, but he could just take another step and get out of it.
You're twisting his body, you're twisting his spine.
Exactly, I'm twisting. So what happens is, pretend you're still going here for a second. Okay, now freeze. By making his, what do I call this? These are shoulders. Yes, thank you. I always forget these terms. By having his shoulders perpendicular to the direction of travel and perpendicular to the ground, he can't take a step. This foot can't step. By keeping this shoulder back, this foot can't come forward. Can't come forward. Everybody see that? So he's got to go. He's got to go. That's a physiological block. I'm taking advantage of his body and its physical construction, keeping the kazushi going to where he's got to take that step or fall, and he can't take the step, so he has to do the fall. Right? Now, Jeff, this may be an advantage for you with a knee like that. You might be able to rotate it 360 and take a step from any... No, I'm just teasing. But do you see that? Right? So what I want you to do, let's do this move again that we did yesterday. He comes in with a punch, block, and keep your fists going. And I keep him going, and just take him somewhere, shoulder, under the arm, I don't care. Bring them forward as you keep him going, and throw him. Now, there's another principle here I'm going to show at the same time, kind of in the instant, from a time perspective. When here, which way, where is this kazushi going? That way. So I don't want to stop it, do I? Right? So that's why I don't push back on his shoulder, because he's going this way. If I push, it's going to stop him, right? Everybody remember kind of from school the concept of vectors, right? Which is you got a direction. In this case, we got a direction and a speed, or a direction and a momentum, right? So that's a vector, right? So what happens is his vector, the arrow is pointing this way. You remember what happens to the direction of the magnitude of the direction of the arrow pointing this way if what I do is orthogonal to the direction? Does it affect that arrow at all?
No.
It does not affect it at all. That's from our political scientists, so we know it's got to be good, hey? So, does not affect it at all. So everything we do is orthogonal to their direction or else longitudinal to their direction, either in their direction or at right angles to it. Anything else only takes away, it doesn't add. Okay? So when he comes in, boom, I'll go orthogonal as I keep him going this way. So if he had his fist going and kept the fist, I have the motion to keep it going this way, and by going orthogonally to it, I don't stop anything here. You don't stop his forward momentum. I got the physiological block. He's got to fall.
Would you explain the longitudinal force?
Sure. And in Jigoro Kano's book, I think he called it Judo. Kodokan Judo, yes. Great book. Okay? In there, he talks, and I'm going to bollocks it up a little bit, but conceptually what he talks about is he says, if a guy's coming at you with a force of 2, or of 1, and if I add 1 in that same direction, he's got a force of 2 in that direction. If he comes at me with a force of 1, and I go exactly opposite to him at a force of 1, he's got a 0, and he's got his balance, he's not going. Okay? That's somewhere in one of the early chapters of the book. All right? So by longitudinally, I mean that if he's coming in this direction, I'll just add to it. But what I have to do if I'm going to add to it is I have to put the blockage in there. Now you're screwed, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's a technical term in Japanese, screwed, right? Okay? Because, you know, I'm adding to it, put the physiological blockage into it, and he's really going to go. So that's what I mean. Hey? Hey? Yep. So what I want you to do now is, it's going to be a little harder. Do this same move. Focus on keeping him going, right? Orthogonal, but keeping him going. And getting the shoulders lined up so I have the physiological blockage so that he can't take that step, and then he just goes and I help him through the finish. Right? I just help him through the finish. Okay? Now, one other thing, not a basic principle, but just something that we have here. Please, ukis, make a fist and keep the fist. Because what's really, really cool from a kazushi perspective when somebody punches you is they're helping you help them to the ground very quickly. Because that punch not only gives direction, but if you look at it, look at this. It's got a nice little hook. Okay? Now, open your fist. The hook goes away. Make a fist. It's got a hook. So when I block, there's the hook, and I keep him going.
Oh, wow.
Open your fist. It goes away. Okay? So make that fist, really make it a punch. Nice and, don't move. Nice and slow. Make it a punch right on through the guy. Did you get hurt?
No.
That's a great thing about going slow.
Yeah.
And he's got the hook. Okay? Because the key to the block is not to stop him, because that gives him his balance, but the block keeps him going. Right? And he's got it. And then if you want to, we never grab the person. We allow their body to touch our hands. Okay? So watch what describe this. What happened?
Is like you were kind of you're like directing my move.
And what happened when I grabbed your arm, your wrist, or right above your?
I stopped having that forward
Stopped
pull,
him.
yeah.
Stop the forward pull. Now come again. Did the forward pull get stopped?
No.
Because I didn't grab his wrist. Never grab anything. I allowed his arm to grab my hand. And that keeps the kazushi going, and it'll give me all the control I need for whatever nice things I want to help him with afterwards to break things, right? Because he wants things broken or he wouldn't attack me, right? So remember that when you do this. So there's a lot going on here. Ukis, please, just like I did with Logan, make a fist, punch him right through the face. Nice and slow, but you'll know if you screwed up because you got hit, okay? It won't hurt because we're going slowly, but nice and slow, but right through the face. Make that fist so you've got a good realistic attack. Gives the Tori the opportunity to keep that kazushi going, keep it going as you add the orthogonal motion, so you don't stop the kazushi, but you establish the physiological block. That's the only reason for the orthogonality, is to establish the physiological blockage so that he has to go over and then gake, follow it through. Questions? There's a lot going on there. Hajime. Thanks, Logan. So we're now experts at blockage. Are there any questions about what I'm talking about here or what we're discussing?
Make perfect
so far? Yeah.
I see myself do all the wrong things. I have a lot to work on.
Okay. This is fine. And again, this is just another way to look at what your martial arts is and look at a move. And when you go into a strange dojo or you go to a clinic and people you haven't talked to before or met with, you want a framework to evaluate them so that you can decide, can I take what they're saying and use it, or do I just wait for the next session, right? Do I turn my brain off and just wait for the next session? And this is how I do that. Is I look to see what's, not so much the move they're teaching, but what's behind the move. Are the principles all there? Okay? So now so far we've been doing some throws, right? Hand throws, hip throws. Let's do some striking techniques. Because surely striking must be different, because striking is hard. Striking is physical, right? I gotta block and strike. Hey? No, it's no different. Okay? So when I block, I keep that guy going, right? It's no different when I strike. My block keeps him going, keeps him going, keeps him going. Just like he's going into a throw, except in this case, his body attacks my fist. Okay? My fist doesn't come and strike through him. His body attacks it. Can I use you? Hi. So, thank you. Come over here. Actually, come on this side, I think. I think it'd be better for the camera. Okay. So, very slowly, just give me a straight strike to the face. No, you can go through the face. It's okay. No, it's okay to go through it. No, slowly, but through the face. Stand still.
Okay.
How much did you get hurt?
I don't know. I think my jaw's broken.
Okay. There you go. So right through the face. I need that uki to really give me the good kazushi. There you go. So there's the kazushi. I've got the kazushi. He's striking the face. So strike the face. What happened?
I walked into it.
How'd it feel?
I felt it. It's good.
Okay, now.
Cracked a rib.
Hold up. Okay? You guys be my witness. I'm not going to go any faster. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did that hurt as much?
Not as much.
Not as much. Not as much. Because his kazushi was coming in, he was open for the move, and his ribs attacked my fist. I didn't go hard, didn't go fast. I let him do it because, what's that about time? I have all day long if I have his kazushi. Okay? There's a 10th Dan in Jiu-Jitsu who won the Nobel Prize. And some of his work was on this, a Nobel Prize in Physics. His name was Albert Einstein. Time is relative, right? 10th Dan in Jiu-Jitsu, we all knew that, right? Okay, right? Time is relative. And time doesn't move if he's still going. And he attacks my fist. Now, I introduced something else here that might be interesting to you, so let's talk about that too. How did I block him? How did I block that fist? Anybody see that?
You blocked it. Not moving to its outside.
Okay. Actually, in this case, I didn't block it. I counted on a when the fist goes, you're using, I get the rods and the cones all mixed up and whatever, but you're looking at motion, you're not really looking at detail. All right? So what I did, punch through my face again. So you're not going to hurt me, it's okay. Now do it again. Good. Do it again. What happened?
You moved out of the way and...
Did you see me move out of the way? Or
No,
was it
like
only
magic.
afterwards? It was afterwards.
Like magic, yeah.
Afterwards you realized I wasn't there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because what I did was I gave him my face. I gave him my face, very slowly. I gave him my face. He follows this. Okay? And by giving him my face, I can do all kinds of things. I give him my face. I can do all kinds of things by giving him my face. Okay? The hardest thing about this is being comfortable giving your face. Okay? I probably learned this move 30-some years ago, so I've been doing it a little bit. But it's really hard. I remember when I first started, I didn't trust, and I would try to do things and this and that. Now, what happens when you reach my face? What does it do?
Just continue.
But what did you feel when you touched me? Here, come in. What did you feel?
Nothing.
Do it again. Now what do you feel?
I just feel my...
Did you see how the motion follows through more when he doesn't touch? I can never let him reach my face. I have to keep him thinking he's going to get it, he's going to get it, he's going to get it. So I can't... That didn't do anything, did it?
Right.
Because he was too far away. He never had the opportunity to make it. But if I get him to think that he's going to get it, he'll get it. So come in. Right? Right? All of these moves work because he thinks he's got my face. Oh, just 1 inch more and I'm going to get him. 1 inch more, I'm going to get him. Right? That's what I got to get him to think. So I keep his kazushi going this way. Right? And we're going to do this. We're going to do this strike this time. But you can see with the kazushi, you can do anything. Right? We're going to do the strike. Didn't like that, did you? And you even knew it was coming, right?
I saw it coming.
Because you were looking for it, but it still got you more, didn't it? Okay? We're just going to do that. Be very careful, by the way, because the guy is truly open, and he truly does come into your fist, and you do strike him before you think you will. You really do. So if you go too hard or too fast, you can hurt your uke. You can go, or if you really go fast, you could break a rib here. So you've got to be careful, because when his body attacks your fist, it happens much quicker than you're used to when you do this. Okay? It happens much quicker and much sooner. Kind of like the first time you got thrown in Tayatoshi after getting thrown in a goshi, you hit the ground much faster, and you have to adjust your timing. Now it's no big deal. You're so used to taking all these falls, it doesn't matter. But that first time that you hit the ground much faster, that's what happens here. It's much quicker than you think. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
Where are your hands to start?
okay, it's an interesting kind of thing, because if the attack is sudden, I don't want this guy knowing that I'm ready. So if he squares off to get me, and I go like this, what had happened to you?
I was about to like block him.
He's good at, he knows. But if I'm down here like this, go ahead and get ready. I got way too much distance to cover. So go ahead. I'm up here when I start.
Right about
So I can go down, up, whatever, because I don't know if he's going to kick me instead of punch me, but I don't want to set him off. The minute, hold still just for 1 sec. The minute I get up too high, his eyes really see it, and he knows I'm ready, and that's the last thing I want. Okay? I want him happy and comfortable. He's giving me this kazushi. I don't want to stop it. I want to be his friend and allow him to reach the ground as quickly as possible. So I'm kind of like right here, so he comes in, and there it is. Okay? Keep your hand, it's got to start in front of your face. Watch this. You had to force yourself to do that, didn't you? He had to force himself to look because my hand was never in front of my face. Keep your hand in front of the face. That was a lot easier, wasn't it? And I move in at 45 degrees. Okay? Go ahead. Let's try that one. Let's have some fun with that. Why did I go down? But it's the kazushi that did it, right? Because this brings me to another principle. Maybe we'll try this one. This will be fun. Brings me to another principle. I call it decreasing radius curvature. Again, these words mean a lot to me. They don't mean anything to anybody else, but I don't have words for them or terms that I've seen out there. Everything works in a circle. Even the punch, he comes here as he gets his balance. Notice how that raises him up, that opens this up, and as that raises him up and opens him up, that's when this comes in. So it's at his maximum openness, right? What happens is, I am the center. I'm going to be egocentric here, right? You all know I'm not. I mean, I have no... If I can convince you, will you please tell my wife that? But, okay, I'm going to be egocentric here. I am the center of the universe. By doing that, anytime I turn the smaller circle. And I'm always shrinking my circle. He goes around me, so his circle has to be bigger. Right? So we know Osotogari works because he steps and I take him back this way. Right? As he steps, he's got to come up to get his balance, just like that baby. He's got to come up to get his balance. He comes up and I continue that motion. So he comes in, boom, he comes up to get his balance, and then boom, I'll throw him, he goes down, right? Okay, that's how a Osotogari works. Same thing here. If we did this one, a straight punch, boom, so I'm here. Boom, straight punch. As he comes to here, keep him extended. Notice he's extended. I'm extending his kazushi. He's going to pull back and try to catch his balance because he's achieved his objective. He's punched my face. He's achieved his objective. You've all felt that when you made a mistake and the guy's fist hits your hand, he settles back down, or maybe you were the guy who's punching and you've hit the guy's fist and it settles you back down. He's achieved his objective, so he's settling back down, which raises him up to settle. Right? So, that's okay. He wants to raise up to settle? Fine. Why'd you go down?
I had to. I don't know why.
It feels stupid. You feel like an idiot. Want to try it? You feel like a real idiot. Okay? He comes in, boom. Extend. Come here. Come here. Come here. Punch here. Right here. Punch there. He was determined it wasn't going to work. Come in and punch. Why'd you go down?
Because I didn't want you to break me.
But did you feel like you had? But you didn't feel like you have to go down. It's like all of a sudden, why are my knees collapsing? Right? Isn't that kind of what it feels like? It's like, why are my knees collapsing? And it's because he's out here. I extended his kazushi because as he wants to settle back down, I settle him back down. Okay? Hey? Good? Okay. So, do you want to try that? You want to practice that, or should we move on to another principle? Want to practice that? Okay, well, let's do that. This is a Osotogari? Right? Same move as a Osotogari. Okay. I think we have time to quickly become experts in one more principle, and that's the principle of overload. Okay? Overload. And again, it means a lot to me, means nothing to you guys. So what does overload mean? Overload means, again, can I use you? I like using the big guys. Whenever I go somewhere, I always pick the biggest guy because then everybody knows that it's not muscle, that this old, weak, short, little, fat guy can't possibly do this. So you wouldn't believe how much I weigh, okay? So I weigh over 165. On a good day, it's 165, right? I'm a fat guy. So overload. If I Now, he comes in and I block and take him this way, and he goes down, right? We all know that. But look at this. Fight that. No, not just with the arm, but move. Get out of it. Okay, he's out of it. Why?
He moved your body, he moved your center.
Yeah, but why was he able to do that? Because I'm going one direction. I'm going this way. Yeah, he's coming this way, and I'm going this way. We're used to fighting resistance in one direction. We're used to that because we fall sometimes, we got to recover ourselves, you know, we go, something happens, we're used to fighting that resistance in one direction, okay? Not just necessarily on the dojo, but in life, we're just used to that, and people are used to that. And now if I took you this way, go ahead and get out of it. Okay, you can still get out of it, because this time I took him this way, right? Again, one direction. But what happens if I take him in two directions? Go ahead, get out of it.
Yeah, that's
It's not going to happen. Because anytime he moves, I keep the pressure in two directions. What I did, you're right?
Yeah, yeah.
What I did was I not just only took him this way, but at the same time I'm taking him this way, I took him this way too. So it looks like it's this 45, but it's really not. It's this and this at the same time. Okay? Two directions at the same time. Overload is what I call it. We're not used to having that happen to us, because that would be like we'd be living on a planet where gravity suddenly shifts into different directions. We're not used to that. You know, we trust gravity is always going to take us in one direction, so we're used to going off in one direction and fighting resistance in one direction. So everything we do is overload, is what I call it. It takes them in two directions. If we had time, I would show you how it even works in a goshi, okay, and other kinds of moves. But I want to do one that is fairly obvious use of, I think this side is better for the camera, of overload of two different directions. He comes in and just stabs me right in the belly. Boom. Stabs me right in the belly. So he's giving me this kazushi. I want this to happen. I want to keep this kazushi going. Okay? And at the same time, I want to add, as I keep this going, add something in a different direction. Okay? So as he comes in, what happens?
Continually changing direction.
Overload. Two directions at once. I didn't stop him and go this way, because now what happens? You got your balance. Oh yeah, I'm in trouble here, aren't I? Yeah? I don't keep it going in this direction, because now you've realized something's happened, you've lost, you didn't have this, you're reacting to that. I better at this point have some physiological blockage or physical blockage or something so I can throw him, or I'm in big trouble, right? Here, this is just to really exemplify overload. As he comes in, I keep him going this way. As at the same time I do that, I don't just push his hand to the side. That doesn't do anything. I have to keep him going that way as I do that. Bring him up to right past his ear, and then straight on down. Why'd you fall?
The first time you were on my wrist. This time I was just off balance.
Yeah, we learn on the wrist because that gives us extra protection because we got the wrist lock. But it's really the motion is the body motion that really throws them. It's not because I got the wrist lock. The wrist lock is for extra protection. If I screw something up, I still have control of the knife hand, right? So what I want you to do is the uke comes in right for your gut, right for your gut. Boom, keep him going. Notice as I keep him going, he's got a little hook for me because he's holding the knife. So I'm able to keep the kazushi going. As I keep it going, so note, I'm still keeping you out this way, aren't I? As I keep him out, I take him sideways. As I still keep him out, get it right behind his ear. Down he goes. And to keep control of the that's the principle. Now what I really want to do as I do this is I keep it up by the hand, because, here, turn around.
There's a bit of a shoulder lock there too.
I got all different kinds of lock possibilities here. If I've screwed anything else up, I haven't given him this opportunity. But the motion, I can just as easily do it from down here. Hi?
Do it with you guys in that direction.
Sure. Sure. Hi? Okay, questions about that? Let's try that. That's overload. Thank you very much. Let's just try that. That's, I think, a good visible. So hopefully you got some stuff out of this, probably like about a third of some of the basic principles. At some point, I keep writing them down and reorganizing them and whatever, so I don't have a formal sheet on it. I've just got these notes in a notebook that I keep. At some point, I'm going to put them all together when I feel like I've really got them organized the right way and have them all identified and stuff. Yeah, but which I would be happy to. But there's one thing I want to leave you with. In Jiu-Jitsu, how many different techniques are there? Give me a guess.
200.
200. 30, 40.
Well,
840.
841. No, just kidding.
big book.
Oh, 840. No, there is one technique. Ultimately, traditionally, there's one technique, and that is the use of the other person's body. That's it. We do all of these different moves, not because, and learn all these things, not because of them, because we're stupid, okay? And we have to go through this process of learning all these different moves before we realize that it's all one. Just using the other person, allowing them to find their own destruction. Okay. At any rate, hope that gave you some good principles and different way, at least, of looking at things. All right. Thank you very much. Okay.